Hi friends, and welcome back to our reflection on the different I am statements of Jesus. Today we'll be reflecting on John chapter 15 verse 1, which says, I am the true vine and my Father is the vine grower. In order to understand this verse a little bit better, we'll be looking at three different roles out here. First, the role of the Father, who is the vine grower. Second, the role of Jesus, who is the vine. And thirdly, we'll be looking at our role too out here. So, let's look out first to the role of the Father as the vine grower. So, if you see a vine, you will see normally that the vines, they creep out on a long surface, and the vine grower, he normally prunes out the unwanted branches. Why does he do that? Firstly, he does that so that the vine, it doesn't become too much overweight. As you know, it doesn't have such strong stems out there. So in order to see that it's not overweighted too much, he prunes out the branches. And secondly, the branches that produce the vine, if they do not receive enough nourishment, their fruits won't grow big. So hence he prunes the unwanted branches so that the nourishment comes to these branches, which produces the fruit. And we see a similar thing as the Father, who is the vine grower, as well. We see in John chapter 15 verse 2, it says, every branch that bears fruit, he prunes to make it bear more fruit. So we see the role out here of the Father as a nurturer. He tries to see that the fruits that are produced are of best quality and that the best nourishment comes in for it. So as I was a kid, I used to wonder, why would God prune the branches? Why would He cut it out and all of that? And over this period of time, I realized that He does that so that the branches that produces fruit, they have sufficient nutrients to grow and they produce the best fruit. As kids, I think each one of us, when we would see an ice cream, when we would see a jelly or chocolates or something, we would throw tantrums out there so that our parents would give us. We would say, no, I want it. And sometimes we would throw tantrums even on the road when we would see something. But our parents, they look at the bigger picture. They know that this thing is not good right now, and they will not give it to you right now. In a similar way, the Father, He looks at the bigger picture out there. He knows what is essential for you right now, and hence He will prune all those things which are not required for you. He will prune it so that whatever is required for you, you will grow into the best possible version of you. You will grow into the best you that you could be. So the Father, He is our nurturer. He will nurture us so that we become the best version that we can be. So this brings us to the second role. The second role of Jesus as the vine. And we see in John chapter 15 verse 4, Jesus says, abide in me as I abide in you. Just as the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine. You are the branches. Those who abide in me and I in them bear much fruit, because apart from me you can do nothing. So you see out here, Jesus is our biggest supporter. You know, for a vine, in order for its branches to have fruits, to bear the best fruits, its vine has to be strong. It has to be deeply rooted in the vine. And the vine is that protects the fruit from all the pests. Because the pests from the ground can enter to the fruits and spoil the fruits. And hence the vine has to be of the best quality. And Jesus out here says, I am the vine. You are the branches. So he is the supporter out here. He will give you the best support out here. He is not going to leave you at any cost. He will protect you from all that is there down. From all those enemies that may come and trouble you, he will be there to support you. But what you are supposed to do is just to abide in him. So we see here the role of Jesus as a supporter for you. He's going to be there with you till the end. And if you go a bit further, in verse 9 he says, as the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Abide in my love. As you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. And he goes on in verse 13 and says, no one has greater love than this, than to lay down one's life for one's friend. You are my friends, if you do what I command you. I do not call you servants any longer, because a servant doesn't know what a master is doing. I call you friends. Yes, my dear friends, Jesus, being the vine, he is our supporter. Also, he is our best friend. So much was his love for each one of us that yes, he laid down his life for us. So this reminds me of John. Recently, because of COVID pandemic and everything happening, everyone being restricted to their houses, John too was restricted to his house. But unlike anyone else, John was very a staunch Catholic. He would say his rosaries, attend online masses, unlike us who will say like, oh, it's online mass, I can hear it anytime, any place, anywhere, it's all okay. But John was not like that. John, he would get up in the morning, first thing he would hear mass and all those things. So he was a very staunch Catholic, he was a very devout Catholic, say his rosary, say his prayers. And suddenly, out of nowhere, his parents, they were detected with COVID. The situation became so grim for him that both his parents were in the ICU. And when his parents were in the ICU, he got upset with God and said, Jesus, where are you? Unlike all the others, I've been a devout Catholic. You see, I've always said my prayers, said the rosary and everything, and yet you get these things out here. Where are you now? Where have you been now? And Jesus comes to him in his dream and says, John, I know what you are going through right now. But in all those doctors who are treating your mother, your father, in all those people who are serving your parents, I am there with them. And that assurance really calmed him down. He was a bit upset, but those words calmed him down. And in the following days, his parents came back to his house. Yes, my friends, though circumstances may change, though things may go haywire, our friend, who is the vine, will never leave us. He is not going to throw us out or anything. In fact, he calls us, even during these times, to abide in him, to be with him. And even though the toughest things may come, though the virus may come, or though anything may come, like the pests may come on the ground as well, he will be there standing with you. So he will take it all on him. He is not going to allow anything to harm you when you abide in him. And through the toughest times, he will be there standing with you. So we see this role of Jesus as a friend who's never going to leave you, who's always going to be there for you, who's always going to, more importantly, support you through your toughest time. So that brings us to the third role. So what is our role out here? So we are called to be the branches. We are called to bear fruits. We are called to abide in the Lord. During this whole discourse, you will hear the word abide, 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 and abide. Jesus calls us to abide in him. Our role out here is to bear fruits. But how are we to bear fruits? By abiding in him. And how do we abide in God? How do we be with Jesus? So here are 4 P's in which we can abide in the Lord. The first being ponder. In John chapter 15 verse 7 it says, "If you abide in me and my words in you, ask for whatever you wish and it will be done." The Father is calling us to abide in his words, to abide and to ponder in his word. What his word is for you today. Have you spent a bit of time reflecting on his word today? Have you spent time pondering over what he wants to speak to you today? So the first P is ponder. The second P is to participate in the Mass. I know right now we are in the COVID situation and we have the online Masses. But we are called to participate in that Mass. It is out here in the Mass that the vine is crushed, that the vine bleeds for you and for me. And we are called to celebrate the sacrifice of this love of God for us. So the second P is to participate in Mass. The third P is personal prayer. For any friendship or for any bond, you have to give time. We have our friends, we have our 2 a.m. friends, we have our 3 a.m. friends, where we all, give time, we chat. And so we have to do with Jesus as well. We have to give time to Him. We have to speak to Him. We have to be in a time of prayer, of intimacy with Him, where He speaks to you and you speak to Him. So we have to develop a habit of having a personal prayer on a regular basis and giving that time to Him so that He can speak to you and you can speak to Him. So our third P is personal prayer. And that brings us to our fourth P, that is to persevere. We are called to persevere and never give up on Jesus. We are called to persevere even in the toughest of situations out there. Even through all the darkness that glooms out, you and I are called to persevere in Him and to never give up on Him. So to sum it up, in order to abide in Him, we need to follow these 4 P's, which are to ponder on His Word, to participate in His Holy Mass, to have a time of personal prayer, and lastly, to persevere and never give up on Him. Even as we come to an end of this reflection, I'd like you to ponder over these roles. The role of the Father as the vine grower, who is our nurturer. The role of Jesus as the vine, who is our friend and our supporter. And thirdly, our role as the branch. Do we abide in Christ in order to bear fruits? And even as we pondered over these different roles, I encourage you to spend time with Him, to ponder over His Word, participate in the Mass, to have a time of personal prayer and to persevere with Him. And during these times, I know that He will be there with you to strengthen you and to be besides you, so that you do not have to face anything alone, but with His strength, you can overcome all that is there ahead of you. All that is there ahead of you.